very strict with the schedule. Everyone got this? Yes. So, encourage balanced use of technology, facilitate access to resources. That means you provide a digital safe space. If you do not have the internet home, the children will go and find somewhere not under your supervision to use it, and they'll go to the sites you don't want. Agreed, parents? Yes. If you want to embrace this technology, make sure you have that safe space. Even if you have a desk and a room at the house, you could go and use your device here. In that way, you know what's going on under your roof. Everybody got that? So, you guide your children in the productive use of these resources. Teach critical thinking with AI and social media. One thing we realize, the many of the assessments we have, the lowest points students get is in reasoning and critical thinking. We are always in this sort of preparing for an exam, and it's all about memorization. What you need to do is always ask your children, what do you think about this? Why this is true? And in that way, have conversations with them. So for example, you don't know about quadratic equations. I'll use maths a lot. And you're going home and you're having a conversation. What did you learn today? They said quadratic equations. And you could always have an intelligent smile and say, hey, well, tell me about this quadratic equations. We have to allow our students to get to talk about what they learn. Yes? If they're learning French in school, you make the effort for them to teach you how to do the greetings in French. So you are learning the language as they are learning. Yes, parents? And in that way, you get involved in the process. Now, the big problem now is AI. Everybody got that? Yes? Yes? Now, AI is good, and we all focus on the bad aspects about plagiarism, and students will just go through in the essay and do it. But I'm one of the advocates of embracing the tool, because if you don't accept change, you will become a what? All right. So AI is here to stay. How could we do this? Promote digital literacy. Have conversations with your child about the ethical use and online research skills. Very interesting, right? Well, later, as we come down to the end, I will show you a way where you could use ChatGPT to help your child really do this critical thinking, where they don't use it in a bad sense, but in a good sense that supports their academic success. Now, we have to be realistic with AI. The key word there is artificial. Everybody, what's the word? Say it to the person next to you. Artificial. You have the narrative. You tell the computer what to do. Everybody got that? What a lot of us do, we would just go like a blank slate and say, type an email to my boss. I don't like the overtime. And from the time your boss reading it, they're like, how are you doing today? And your boss is like, you are never so formal to me. This is AI, right? Yes, right, folks? Some of us were just busted there, right? So what you need to do is use it responsibly. And what I mean is it's always good to do it first and then ask the AI to enhance. And you could teach your child that. Don't let them go and write the essay, even if you have to sit with them and help them come up with the initial draft, and then say, let's see how ChatGPT will change up this paragraph a bit. And when they do it, you don't let them copy and paste. You have conversation with them. Do you think this sentence sounds like you? And in that way, the child learns that ethical approach to using those AI tools. Now, digital literacy involves a few things: what digital tools are, how they work, their uses and their limitations, and their skills you must have. Digital citizenship. Everything you put online, you put it as a footprint of yourself. That's how people know about you. Are you aware that these dangerous devices, I call them, are you aware that they record everything you say about every 3 to 5 seconds? Yeah? Yeah? Ladies, you downstairs on lunch, you're talking about, I can't remember the name of the place with S where everybody buys from. Or Sephora, you're all rich. Shein, right? That's it, right? You're talking about that, and by the time you come up here to lunch, you go on Facebook and you're seeing ads. Yep, doesn't that happen a lot? You are coming Barbados, you never announced to the world, but all of a sudden you're seeing deals about things in Barbados. It's because these devices record everything we say. And there are certain features that look at what you like, your interests, and so on. And you have to let your children know the same thing so that they can feed the proper footprint of themselves in the digital landscape. Now, critical thinking, content creation. So digital literacy. You have to teach your students, or I would say students, because once children leave school, they are under your care, and you are now in the role of the teacher, right? Yes, parents? The teacher should be running across the room right now, yes? Because sometimes we feel it's only the teacher that is doing the job. But once you have them in your care, you are able to continue that learning. And to use AI, you need to kind of merge your philosophy with the teachers. Teachers now are using AI, and they know about an AI mindset, which is developing the right mental posture or attitude to help you work with AI. What you need to do, this is the time you need to have a conversation with your child's teacher, because you need to find out what mindset they are pushing in their classroom. Is it one of curiosity? Is it one of skepticism? Is it responsibility, flexibility, openness to change, confidence, reflection, or a growth mindset? And by a growth mindset, it means you're using it to empower yourselves to become better. So once you figure out what the teacher is doing in school, it will also make you understand what type of AI literacy your teachers are having at the school. For example, is it that they're doing things like prompt engineering? Turn to the person next to you and tell them prompt engineering. Okay, I will tell you, that's the big secret to be in control of AI. Everybody got that? Yes? AI will do what you tell it to do. And it's important, we need to invest in prompt engineering in our schools. All the teachers here, you all know about Bloom's taxonomy? Teachers, you raise your hand if you remember Bloom's taxonomy. It's the different ways you ask questions to get a robust response. So describe, create is at the highest level. When you teach your child, or you as the parent allow them to put prompts into the AI with create, describe, it allows the AI to do more robust kind of output. And you engage with the output. You let the children question it. Is this what you really want me? Is this correct? And you allow them to have that conversation with AI. They control the narrative. So, with prompt engineering, many countries like China has instituted in early childhood institutions, everyone is doing a course in prompt engineering. Very interesting, right? Yes? So, with that, parents, you have to get your child in a way that they can sit with them and see what they put in AI and tell them, are you satisfied with that output? Yes, and question them so that they could change it accordingly. So I'll leave this part, which is a critical AI literacy, which is a greater depth into how you could control the AI narrative in your home. But what I want to get with is partner with your schools. What is an AI classroom policy? Find out if the teacher allows it. In that way, you can enforce it at home. Everybody got that? Yeah. Talk with the teachers. Then examine the teacher versus parental role. So you could take a picture of this, and you could see how do you handle data privacy, and there are many things. It should be similar questions. You notice the teacher is placed in the picture at home? Yes, because you are taking on that role now. So I'm moving on, because for well-being, model healthy digital habits. You remember I said have a schedule, balance when the students could use the technology. Let them talk about what they are doing online. Now, there is something called AI hallucination, where the child gets so dependent on whatever AI produces, AI would realize that they are not questioning the source, and they will just give you anything. That's why I said it's important to ask your children why this is so that they could get in that questioning mode when they're using the tools. Because of time, all of this will be sent to you. You provide some emotional regulation support. You have to hug your child. Tell your child you are perfect just as you are, because they are comparing themselves to what they see on social media. If you don't empower them home, they will be drawn into what is put out there. Let them be proud of themselves. Even if they look good, let them take a picture, and you approve the picture that they put online. Yes? In that way, they show I am proud of who I am. So I want to go to the end, because with academic success, you need to learn about AI with the student. Now, the big secret I want to share with you is CanMigo. So take the name down, CanMigo. There is a platform, you know, Khan's Academy. They actually have a platform now. It's available in a few of the Caribbean territories where you as a parent could have a profile, and you can also work as a teacher prompting the AI with what to ask your child when they're doing their homework. Now, the one that is easily accessible is ChatGPT study mode. Everybody, if you have ChatGPT on your phone, sometime today, just go onto it and type study mode, or you go to the GPTs, and let me see if it would come up here. Right, you go into it, you click on tools, select study and learn, and enter your topic. Folks, this is the best thing ever. Let me tell you why. When the child puts in a mathematics equation and says, solve this equation, the chat GPT will no longer give them the answer. It will start to say, okay, we are solving this equation. Tell me what you know about this topic. It's like a teacher, and the child will say, well, I know this. And they say, okay, since you know that, great job. How about if we try to solve the equation together? And it will talk the child through the process. I'm currently doing research with university students, and they are enjoying it. Imagine you could teach a topic, they go home, and they have this interaction with the ChatGPT telling them every step. And I do it during tutorials where it even plays a game with them, because it would understand their interests, and it realized some of them like Vibes Cartel. It changed the problem into Vibes Cartel, a whole narrative. And if you saw the excitement on the students' faces, that their interest is there, and this ChatGPT is talking like a tutor, and it's not giving them the answer. It is letting them do it. And then it takes them to the other level where it will give them a wrong answer and ask them why this is wrong. Tell me why. And in that way, you take them to the highest level of critical thinking and problem solving. So this is the study mode. And as we come to the end, encourage a safe online collaboration. Allow your child to have Zoom meetings with their friends to study, because let them embrace the technology. They can work with people remotely, and in that way, they get a comfortable space whereby I can do academic work on my device, not only watch Instagram and go on Facebook, etc. I can do fun stuff. And with that, we create the type of students or child in our home that would balance their screen time with their wellness. Once you enforce it, it will happen. And as I end, these are the three things to remember. Provide resources to teach digital wisdom. That means you need to sit with them, see what apps they're on. Have that bonding time where you just talk about, you have your little Instagram profile, and ask them, should I put this on Instagram? In that way, they realize that you are just, how we would say, hip as them, or that you are at their level, but you are really guiding and protecting them in that instance. You foster emotional resilience, empower them that they are special so they are not swayed by what's on social media, and help them thrive academically and emotionally with features like study mode in ChatGPT. So all the best and take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Andrew Hunt. I would ask you, what is your key takeaway? But I'll leave that until the end. And I'll just reflect on the quote that Dr. Andrew had in his presentation, and that is, for parents, adults, and even young adults like myself, that you are either ready for change or you are a dinosaur. Thank you, Dr. Hunt. Our next presenter is Rashawn Hackett. Rashawn Hackett is an 18-year-old graduate of Queen's College, Barbados, who is currently pursuing a degree in computer science at the University of the West Indies, Cayfield campus. While at Queen's College, he served in many leadership roles such as house captain, prefect, and ultimately the head boy of this illustrious institution. Rashawn is known outside of his studies for his interest in cricket, public speaking, and entrepreneurship, having founded his own online business, The Cricket Stop, at the age of 16. Yes, we can clap for that. His presentation, therefore, will briefly discuss how parents can provide support for both academic success and emotional well-being from a student's perspective. Let's welcome Rashawn Hackett.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so very much, Jaheem, for the wonderful introduction. When I was invited to speak at today's symposium, I smiled. I didn't just smile because the topic is one that is so relevant in today's society, today's modern society. But I smiled because it's one that is so controversial, especially with technology. We see persons saying that it's bad for the youth in that it stops them from being able to think. And then we have persons approaching it from another point of view, like Dr. Hunt, who is saying that it's good for the youth in promoting a new way of thinking, a new way of approaching problems. So this really sparked my interest. And today I'm going to address how can parents provide support for children both academically and in their well-being, but from a student's perspective. Let's begin. The first problem that I would like to address is how does technology become a problem? Before we can jump to solutions, we need to understand how it can become a problem. And the first point, in the Caribbean, smart devices have become so normal in that by the time children reach secondary school, almost all of them have a device. For the parents in here, anyone who has a child who's in secondary school, I just want to see how many of them have a device. Exactly, almost all of them have a device. But what's so amazing about that is that whenever the children are misbehaving or not doing their work, you know what's the first thing we blame? We blame the very said same devices. And this is amazing because we as students don't work anywhere, or at least not me. I wasn't working in school to be able to afford or buy the devices, which means that it has to come from you parents. And this leads me to my first point. We must not only give the children the technology, but we must also monitor and ensure that they're using it for the correct purposes, make sure that they're using it productively. Very often we see parents giving young children at 6, 7 years old, devices, a tablet or a phone, just so that they can distract them to allow the parents to do what they have to do, whether it's work, whether it's housework, anything. And as the children get older, we see them continuing to be distracted. And we wonder why. We wonder where the problem has arisen from, when it's been there in front of us this whole time. We've not been monitoring, and it's developed far out of control. So we need to monitor what the children are doing. And here I have some points on how parents can implement structure, because structure is very, very important. When giving children devices, we need to have some sort of structure. So, number one, model good behavior. Instead of just giving a child a device and telling them to do this, do that, we should be the example that we want them to be. Set the example and allow them to follow, because although we may not notice, children follow in parents' footsteps so heavily. As a youngster, we just want to be like the parents so bad, whether it's mommy, whether it's daddy. So be that example. Point number 2, designate tech-free times. Now, this is so important in households. Things such as not coming to the kitchen table with the phones, or having family time without devices is so important, because it teaches children discipline and that there's a time and place for everything, which then translates into the real world, which then translates into the classroom, in that there is a time and a place for everything. So we must designate tech-free times. Next is monitor how and when. Too often we see parents just giving us children the devices, leaving us. No one is looking back at when we're using them. No one is looking back at how we're using them. And then the only times that the parents notice is when it begins to hinder us in education, not doing schoolwork. So we must monitor how and when we're using the devices. But not just how and when, but we must also monitor what sort of content they're taking in. So that's also very important. And lastly, set clear rules. Now, if all of these things I know mentioned failed, we must have some sort of rules and consequences to go by. Because children must understand that if you do not abide by the correct policies, there will be consequences. Now, what students experience versus what we need is the next area that I want to touch on. Parents often tell us students, oh, y'all don't got nothing to stress about because we don't pay the bills. And although we may not pay bills, we do have stresses and we do have concerns on a daily basis. Here are some of the challenges that students may encounter. And I want to go through them one by one. Number one is comparison to others. And many parents in here will be able to agree with this. Because of the highly digital world that we're living in today, with technologies such as Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, we see parents would post, oh, Mary would post that my child got an grade 1 in English. And then we would often look at our children and be like, but wait, why couldn't you get a grade 1 just like Mary's child? And I would like to advise parents, please don't do this. It's just putting unnecessary pressure on the students, causing them to feel down or bad about themselves. We must understand that different students have different needs. And as a student who's experienced this sometimes, it is very important to understand that. So what may work for me may be harmful to another. So instead of comparing, we must instead ask ourselves as parents, what can I do to help you? How can I, as your parent, implement measures to make sure that you do your best and not compare? Number two, validation based on grades. And we see it so often as well. If I come home as a student and I tell you, mommy or daddy, I got an A+ on my exam today, mommy or daddy will feel good, tell me, you get whatever you want to eat today, you get as much time on social media, you get whatever you want, you're the best. But then another day I may not do as well on an exam, and mommy or daddy all of a sudden don't want to see me. Go to your room. Don't come back out for the rest of the night. So we often find parents validating their children based on just grades. And although we want students to do well, it's also important that we give them unconditional love and support beyond grades, because at the end of the day, it's not about bringing us down. It's more so about helping us to see how we can get back up to where we want to be. Number three, never-ending academic overload. And this is one of the, what I would call somewhat a negative of the technology nowadays. We have technologies such as Google Classroom or online forums where teachers constantly send work. Sometimes even on weekends, teachers would be sending work. And parents have access to our accounts in most cases in primary and secondary school. And they will see all of these assignments lining up. And they will tell us, but you got all of these assignments to do. Make sure you do them. Try and finish all of them now. Not understanding that there's so many different subjects, especially here in Barbados. At CXC, at Cape, a lot of students are doing 6, 7+ subjects minimum. Some even do 10. So it's very important that we are understanding of where the students are coming from and know that it's all right to take a rest. Yes, you have a lot of work to do, but we can break it up amongst days instead of just telling the children to do everything at one time. And lastly, lack of trust from parents. So many parents in the Caribbean and around the world want to govern exactly on how their students do their work. So you would tell your child, I want you to come home from school and do this assignment right now after you get home. Don't even bid anything. Come home, do your assignment. But sometimes it sounds good, but it's not always practical. So we must ensure to guide the students, but not appear as if we don't trust them, still allow them to have some responsibility over their lives. My next area I want to touch on is what Dr. Hunt would have now touched on. Should technology be implemented into learning? Recently, there's been a surge, a massive surge in new technology, especially artificial intelligence. The head one being ChatGPT, as we can see here. And it sparked a debate online for a long time. Is it good for us or is it bad for us? Is it stopping us from thinking? Is it causing us to excel? So what I want to do quickly is go through some of the pros and the cons of artificial intelligence, because this is the head one, the head technology that the students are using today. And afterwards in the discussion, I want some parents to tell me if you find that it's helpful or if you find that it's hindering. So we'll go through the pros first. Instant feedback and solutions to problems. Meaning that if I come home with an assignment and I just put the work into ChatGPT or put the work into any artificial intelligence software, it will automatically give me the answer one time. So that can appear as a pro to some students, but on the flip side, it can also be used for students to cheat. And we see that as the second con. Students would often be given assignments, and instead of doing it on their own, they would just put it into ChatGPT, it would generate it, and you have your answer there. The next pro, it offers study support 24/7. And I, as a student, have personally found this very helpful because typically, when we want help with work, the procedure is to email the teacher and hope that they get back to us in a timely manner. And sometimes this is not for days, especially even if it's on a Friday. Sometimes we would send an email to a teacher and we will not hear back from them till Monday, which is, in teachers' defense, they need a rest too. So we would often not hear back from them until the Monday. With the technology and artificial intelligence, we have support 24/7. So if I have a question that I would like to ask my teacher, I could just ask it to the device and it would answer my question in quick time, meaning that I would not have to wait anymore. I can get access whenever I want. Personalized learning. And I also heard Dr. Hunt speak on this as well. This is one that is so big in artificial intelligence that can really drive us towards the future. Now, when I say personalized learning, I mean taking what a student likes and using it to help benefit them in the classroom. An example is that I have a friend at CXC. They had some physics work and they were not very much understanding it. And it told the ChatGPT, write a song for me to understand this particular topic. And ChatGPT very much indeed wrote a catchy song, and they sang this song as if it was a song on their playlist. And they went in the test and did well. So that is a very helpful feature of the artificial intelligence. And lastly, high accessibility. Anyone with a phone, anyone with a laptop is able to access this artificial intelligence because in most cases it's free. Now, let's take a look at some of the cons. Students are going to use it regardless. Let's face it, teachers, parents, students are going to use it regardless. So although we may ban it from any schools, we're going to use it because it's there and we're going to use it. Next is students can become overly reliant. And I'm trying to remember the term that Dr. Hunt used for it. What was the term? When students become overly reliant. You used a term for it that I really liked, but we'll get back to that. Students can become overly reliant, meaning that when they get their hands on this technology, they just keep on using it, and sometimes causing them to not think. But that really is not good for the student. You were saying something? AI hallucination. All right, AI hallucination, that is the term. And this really can hinder our students. And lastly, less human interaction. So if I have my phone where I could just go and ask a question to, that really eliminates the need for human interaction because I don't need to come and ask my parents, I don't need to come and ask teachers, and this is really not good because sometimes it can hinder with socializing and the social aspect of a child. So in my opinion, these tools can be helpful, but it's all about utilizing them in the right way. And I think that as parents, as educators, this is where you guys really come in ensuring that the students, ensuring that we use it in the correct way, laying out the guidelines for us to use them. Now, the key takeaways that I want to leave with parents, and not just parents, educators, anyone with a child, are academic success starts at home. So parents should set all the right examples at home before they even send the child off into the classroom. basically laying the foundation, because it always starts at home, and what we teach them is what they will go about their everyday lives with. At the end of the day, in the home is where we spend most of our time, and we're bound to pick up habits and traits. Next, find ways to support each and every child. I can't stress on this enough, because as someone who I find learning a bit different myself, I'm a bit of a slow learner, so I tend to take more time to process things. We need to find ways to help each and every student, because what may work for one may not work for another. And we must embrace technology. As Dr. Hunt mentioned again, and I'm referencing what he said a lot because I really enjoyed his presentation. I was listening and taking it in. So we must embrace the technology. Artificial intelligence and these sorts of technologies are the future. And if we don't go along with it, we'll get left behind the rest of the world. So we must embrace it. And lastly, we must remember that the youth is our greatest experience. I love to say this because regardless of what we produce here in the Caribbean, what materials we produce, the youth is always the most important resource. These are the persons who are going to take us forward, so the most emphasis must be placed on them. I thank you guys very much. I hope that you took away something.
Thank you, Mr. Hackett. I want to open the floor for engagement and dialogue. But before we do that, I just want to ask both presenters, panelists. Now, in both presentations, you made mention of the support or finding ways to support through that AI literacy in terms of parents. And you would have made mention of study support. But I want to go deeper and ask the question about emotional support. A lot of our students are using ChatGPT, as was mentioned in the presentations, for instant feedback and solutions to problems. Therefore, they are using it as a means of therapy, AI therapy, I will call it, and also to find solutions on things that they may otherwise not feel safe to tell their parents. My question is then, therefore, how then does that clash with the communication between and relationship between parents and their children, and how can that be resolved?
Well, I think what children mirror what you do, right? So in terms of communication, sometimes this happens in the home. The husband and wife is right there in front of the kids. The wife wants to tell the husband, go to the grocery and get something, and she will text him. You all get what I mean, right? You text him and he's right there. If we show that it's okay to talk to someone I think because of COVID-19 and everyone was behind keyboard, everybody has this keyboard persona where they would not say it to somebody directly to their face, but we would go on a keyboard and do it. And we have to take that back. We have to have that social, emotional intelligence to communicate with people. And you have to do that with your child also and show them, talk to me, right? Now, if the child comes, I know a parent did this, the child couldn't articulate what they wanted to say. The parent said, send me a text message. When the text message came, parents said, I am saying words that are not spelled properly, the tone is not right, put it in ChatGPT and fix it up. We laughed about it, but in that little instance, the parent told the child, okay, all right, you're communicating with me, it's not up to the standards that I want. So I'm allowing you to fix it, and I am even somewhat embracing the technology and say, if you can get the tone right, ask ChatGPT to get it right for you. But put what you wrote before. So that was an interesting approach because the parent is kind of keeping the communication, but they're allowing the child to be able to embrace the technology. It may be a little far-fetched for some persons, but it may work in some cases. But we always need to talk to our fellow human beings first. We love to send emails to our co-worker. Just walk down to their door and talk to them. Tell them what you need to tell them. And I think we are losing that art of communicating, and we have to bring it back, even as parents in our everyday lives, and then we can mirror it at home.
All right, thank you, Dr. Hunt. So then the next question I'm going to ask, I haven't seen anyone as yet on the mic. Oh, awesome. So I will yield to you.
Yes, very good presentation. It was very informative, very interesting. We have a saying in the Turks and Caicos that AI won't replace teachers, but the teachers who do not use AI will be replaced by those who do. Now, where does that stand for parents? Because obviously we cannot replace our parents. And I believe this is why the formation of a PTA body, a PTA council, has to be carefully crafted with individuals serving in capacities that can provide the necessary support to parents. And so on that council or on that PTA body should be somebody with a legal mind, somebody from health, somebody from social development, but we cannot ignore the importance of having somebody who is skilled in technology, in AI, because that is where we are heading. And if parents are going to really be in a position to support their children in this 21st century with all of this technology, then they would need support. They would need guidance. They would need tutoring, some more than others. But it is something that we must think about, because if assignments are sent home for students to do, and the parents are unable to even, let's say, turn the computer on or go on a website or manipulate some sort of software, how will they then be in a position to provide that support to their children? So I don't know if it's a question, but it's just something that I believe we need to think about.
Thank you for your contribution, sir.
Just quickly, what I think PTA meetings should not just be meetings. Sometimes you could have webinar sessions. Use the technology. We always, yes, it's good for everyone to meet, but you have to mirror that sort of practice where you could have these webinars, and it could be the parent secret meeting where somebody, an expert, is there teaching them how do you maneuver Google Classroom. How could you help AI, ChatGPT, study mode to assist your child with content you are not comfortable with? If we have these type of workshops, people would see PTA more than just a meeting of those interested. It would be as something that is helping them, every parent in the school, develop to deal with their child.
All right, we're going to have, oh, go ahead.
Right. I just wanted to add also in regards to your point with teachers and artificial intelligence. I personally feel as if this would never be a clash, because yes, artificial intelligence is smart. Yes, it can provide us with all the answers we need. But when it comes to school and when it comes to students, there's also still an emotional aspect, which is why I like the topic so much, and I told you I smelled. How parents can provide support for both academic success and emotional well-being. There must be parents there to offer that humanly love, to offer that humanly support. So yes, artificial intelligence is good, but it could never provide what a human can provide.
All right, so we're going to take the, yes, we can clap for that. Yes, we can clap for that. We're going to take the question from this side. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. Dr. Hunt, I was sitting beside you, you heard me. The embracing of technology, COVID has taught us that we have to embrace technology and move forward. Not only AI, we see Google, Microsoft, and working in the disability community space, there is a lot of technology that Google and Microsoft and other AI platforms other than ChatGPT. One of the things that the question is, how do we legislate that technology as a region is something that has to be done. And also, how will we implement IT rooms for online training that is badly needed? I mean, working across, again, I work across 7 Caribbean countries. Some are advanced in terms of the school with their IT rooms, some are not. Some have old Asian systems that need to be replaced. So when we talk about technology, the investment in technology and also the investment in training on how, and also trickling it down from a community level, how can we have the parents go into our community centers to learn these technologies by providing those trainings? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. The comment that was made by the previous speaker, I wanted to ask about, because from COVID, the experiences that I would have been interfacing with parents highlighted the fact that there are parents who are challenged academically who cannot read. And I saw parents breaking down, crying, wanting to help their children, but unable to do so. And we are obviously introducing the technology, and this is the way we are advancing. But I really want to know, just now I heard you, Doctor, alluding to saying that having workshops, but what benefit is the workshop to a parent who cannot read, who wants to be present, who wants to help their child or children in making sure that they too are not left behind? I want to know what has been or what can be done for those parents. And we know there are some parents who go through hardships, extreme hardships. And for me, like the experiences that I would have been hearing, like parents would talk about being judged even to ask a teacher a question in terms of how to help my child do A or B. So if we are advancing in this technological era now, I really want to know how we are going to help these parents so that they can help their children effectively.
Well, I think it's needed. And first of all, we have to be mindful that not everyone is on the same educational level, because some people feel, oh, there are people in this day and age, they can't read. What's wrong with them? And you don't know what their experience led them to that position. First of all, we have to move that judgment, and then we have to have a willingness to help each other. We have become so selfishly minded that we don't like to assist persons. I could talk in the context of Trinidad. Trinidad has Alta, right? My Trinidadian colleagues. Although I'm not there for a while. Yes, I think it still exists, yes? Yes. I recall at one school, they realized because of the location, a lot of the parents couldn't read. So what, through the PTA and one like-minded teacher, they arranged to have Alta, which is adult literacy, teaching them to read, as a community-based initiative facilitated by the PTA. I keep saying PTA should not just where you come and you find everything that's going wrong with the principal, the teachers, and the ministry, but it should be an opportunity where we want to go out and do community work. And that means your community starts at home with your fellow parents who have challenges to help them survive. I think if we do more initiatives like that, have sessions like that, and you can do it privately. Everyone doesn't need, I think the problem in the Caribbean, people don't want people to know what is their issue. So we can be confidential enough that we could arrange that it's not in a place where the person feels threatened, but a safe place to assist them to get through. So I hope the person who asked if that could be an initiative you could start in your area, and other persons just started as a PTA, as a project to help parents at your school.
Thank you, Dr. Andrew, for that response. Because of the time, we have 8 minutes left. If possible, can we take from this side, and we'll try to get to the other question from the left.
Okay. Hi, good afternoon all. So it's not a question I'm bringing, but I just wanted to bring a different perspective. The last panelist touched on it slightly, and Andrew earlier alluded to it as well. But I also wanted to highlight and zero in on how technology goes a very long way to aid in inclusion and equality. We all hear about Siri and Alexa, but there's so many other software and apps that can aid in the classroom. We have text-to-speech programs that can help persons who may be blind or persons who may be print impaired. There are even programs that be speech-to-text that will help persons who may have fine motor challenges or severely dyslexic. There are even apps that can take your speech and turn it into sign language for persons who are deaf and hard of hearing. And so technology in the classroom can go a very long way. Years ago, you would hardly hear about persons with challenges and disabilities being included in the classroom, but now technology can go a long way to lead into that. But even more so, it helps parents as well in the involvement in children's life. For example, I am a parent and I'm also blind. But that does not take away from the fact that I want to be involved completely in my child's education. So every time the teacher sends something or puts something on the Google Classroom, I get an alert too, and I can use my various software to access that work and go through the work with him. So I just want to encourage, and I would like that technology be seen for exactly all of the benefits it can give to inclusion on both sides of the spectrum.
Thank you for that contribution. All right, so we're going to take from the left and hopefully one more from the left, and hopefully we can, based on the time, get to the other two. Let's keep it as succinct as possible, please.
Yes, hello, good afternoon. Again, Dr. Hunt and Mr. Hackett, brilliant presentation, I would say. As a professional, I can relate to the content being discussed this afternoon. As a parent, I cannot relate. Reason being, I see AI and technology on the whole. Professionally, it's a tool. For me, it works as a tool at the office. It gets me, I'm able to deliver quicker. It's like a personal assistant for me, and I'm using it professionally. However, I am in battle with my daughter at home, because you did say monitor, but how can you monitor her access and the amount of time she's on that tablet? You control the times, you turn your back and she's back on it. Oh, Daddy, I need the tablet to do my work. You miss out for half an hour and she's going and going. And this is the constant back and forth. Sometimes you have that conversation to let them understand, hey, you need to do this. You need to be aware that you cannot let the technology take over you. But, you know, we want to look at it as a positive way, in a positive way. Now, again, with the technology, even when we look at the schools and the PTAs and the schools, what we can do is maybe looking at the awareness and the practices. So for example, whether it's the platform, the AI, you want to ensure that the security aspect of it is there. The students as well as the teachers and even the parents, they understand the whole cybersecurity, what to expect, best practices, and maybe even look at the workshops for maybe usage and understanding and how you use the technology to your advantage. So this is just part and parcel of the experience we have. There's one other area you mentioned. Oh, the time. Yes. Yes, I don't miss it. I miss it. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, gentlemen, for moving my perspective on AI, because I'm probably a dinosaur. I struggle with technology at times, and my daughter gets impatient with me. Can GPT be wrong?
Yes, it could.
Okay. I want us to realize that, because sometimes we depend on the technology and it's not really accurate. What I've discovered, though, an observation in the school that I represent, the St. Vincent Girls High School. In the term, the children are excelling. We excel rarely, but in the term, the grades are way above average. And at exam, they're challenged because we have discovered that they're depending on ChatGPT to do assignments and so forth. So I just wanted to see how best we can strategize in that we can get the results on exam and term as well. Just some ideas.
What we have to do, we have to change how we assess. We are moving ahead, but we are still dinosaurs in the way we test children. You teachers, we have to find creative ways where you can get them to give the type of good responses that could be mirrored in an exam, but it could be done. We just have to be a little creative with how we do it, and there are ways you can do it without them going to ChatGPT to help them, because depending on the type of assignment you have, like especially like an oral presentation, ChatGPT will not be able to help them with that because they are personalizing themselves to present how they interpret or understand content. So we have to figure out ways to go along that, and we need to change. Probably let them write a calypso with the content that you taught in class. In that way, on the spot, you have to always test them on the spot, not allow them to go home to do the assessments and so on. Okay?
All right, so we'll now move to our final question.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I am Rianka. I'm the Global Youth Leader with the Global Partnership for Education, representing St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we have been speaking about parents and teachers, parent-teacher association, which should be bridging the gap between parents and teachers. Now we're focusing on academic success and emotional well-being, which happens a lot at home. We see a problem where our parents and our students sometimes have a gap. So how can our parents bridge that gap to reach to the students in terms of getting them to have good emotional well-being and also getting them to have academic success?
Well, I personally believe that this is where, as we spoke about earlier, this is where parents come in and having conversations with the students would come in, because as much as there's artificial intelligence, it cannot offer that emotional support to the students. So parents must have conversations, must constantly be checking the work of their children, because at the end of the day, parents know their child best. So if you realize that children are bringing home grades that don't necessarily suit their results, and you suspect that they're using the technology, we must intervene as the parents and have discussions with the children to make sure that there's that level of honesty and that level of trust between the parent and the child. So it's all about having discussions at home.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'm going to ask the presenters to just give any final comments before we go.
All I want to say is just use the AI and the technology tools. Get over it, else you will be a dinosaur. And you just empower your kids. And something I always tell my students, you could tell your child, is that everything they do in life is a portrait of themselves. So let them always autograph it with excellence.
And what I would just like to add is that just be sparing with the children. So whether they use the technology or they don't, try to understand where they're coming from and try to be there for them and support them through whatever it is. So, yeah.
With that, everyone, I want to say thank you for having us to present and also to moderate this session on parenting in the digital age. At this time, we'll move to prepare for the next session. Thank you, everyone.